Welcome to Urban Legends with your hosts, Smartwatch, Neil and Chris, Lucas Speaker.
Hello and welcome to Urban Legends' second Mailbag episodes in this period intra-series perineum period between series 5
100 and 101.
Between 100 and 101. I believe this is a bit of a staple that people better podcasters than us do. So, so we're going to do a second one of those. I am Chris Flynn, and with me, the other cheeky voice you heard was Mr.
Neil Herbert.
So we've both pulled out some questions from the listeners. Be they all real or all fake or somewhere in between.
Who can say?
Who can say? Who can
Urban
say?
legend of itself.
It is an urban legend of itself. Some truth, some lie, some love, some loss, some hate, some kindness, and some questions now.
There we go. Very, very poetical, Chris.
So
we had joy, we had pain, we had seasons in sun or whatever.
So
I don't think those are the lyrics, but never mind. Yes,
no,
there
I
is.
don't think so. So
no, in fact, they're definitely not.
No, 100% not. No,
joy, we had fun, we had seasons in sun. I don't
fun,
know.
yeah, fun rhymes with sun, not pain.
Yeah. Oh, well, I thought it was all about kind of like good times and bad times. That's so I seem to recall. I can't remember.
No,
what? It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter now. It doesn't matter
because she's dying now, Chris. Or he is. I'm not sure.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Don't know.
His mutual suicide pact.
Well, this has been a strong start.
Over who owns the crime boy painting.
Do you want to start with you want to start one of the ones you've pulled up, and then I'll go one, and we'll go one on one.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so this is one from Gunther in Berlin.
Gunther in Berlin.
Yeah. Imagine that.
Yeah.
So hey guys, been listening for a while. Wondered if there's an urban legend that you actually believe in.
Oh.
So I have something for this, but I don't know, Chris, whether.
So the most believable one, which we've covered, I'd say, was the Beast of Bodmin Moor.
Okay, it was just the cats that
the big cats, the mountain lions. I think there's rumors or whatever that they were actually kind of released from a circus, and there was 2 males and a female, and so for animals like that, that kind of area would be like really easy for them to get on pretty well in, and they're seen a lot, and there's lots of pictures of them. So I think that I would say that's the most believable one that we've come across, the Beast of Bodmin Moor. How about you, Neil?
See, we haven't covered this and we never will, but
right.
The one that I can't get over is, I think Gary Lineker's in the same place. I always think that they swap round the colour of the packets of crisps, Walker's crisps.
Right, yeah.
From blue to green. I think it's cheese and onion and salt and vinegar.
Yeah.
And I always end up getting them confused and assuming that they changed them around. Apparently, it never happened.
But
I think we covered it as an example in when we were doing it. It wasn't Berenstein Bears, but I think was it Man from Taurek? Maybe we went through the Mandela effect.
Yeah,
and was one of the possible causes of the Man from Taurek. But so I can't quite shake my belief that even though I know that it is that it's not true, I always. I have a memory that they swapped around the colour of packets of salt and vinegar and cheese and onion crisps. Not a very interesting one, but
I thought they did as well.
No, I read up on it, and apparently now it's they said it was that colour. It's just one of those things where everyone thinks.
The thing is,
common urban myth. Everyone believes that.
What's it? The reason being that they have salt and vinegar crisps across every other brand is a blue packet. And in there, it's a green packet, right? So that's probably where it comes from. Like they're just big, difficult. Yeah. Change it, get it changed. That's what I'd say. Change it now. If we can adjust to having marathon bars turn to Snickers, we can adjust to.
I'm still not over that, Chris. As you clearly are, the fact that you've mentioned it.
Absolutely not.
Well, it's a shit name. Snickers.
Fuck off. I remember there was
good name for chocolate bar.
I remember
I've had one in about 20 years.
I remember that. Oh, I have them quite regularly. They're probably
Oh, do
my
you?
go-to. Yeah, because I like the peanuts.
Well, yeah, no, exactly. If you're going to get a
I'm a
chocolate
nut
bar, some
man.
peanuts, that's what you want.
I'm into nuts. I really
Yeah.
like nuts. I've been
That's
eating a lot
nice
of
with that
nuts
caramel.
recently.
I'll tell you what they should do: limited edition salted caramel version.
I'll tell you what. What's this reader's name? What's it? Hans
It's
Gunther.
Gunther, yeah.
Gunther in Berlin. So because I shop at
Doesn't give a
places.
second name, sadly.
Yeah, fair enough. Doesn't want to get doxed.
No.
I'm sure I'm sure it's not an unusual name in Berlin. It's funny, funny how it turned out like that.
Yeah, it's not a sort of thing that somebody in a drowsy Sunday morning would just make up while he was making up the question. That's not a really fucking lost. Bothered at that point.
There's a really nice bar called a Nopper bar, which is from Germany, which you can get in places like Aldi, and that's got kind of like nuts and like like that hazelnut paste, which they use a lot in Europe. It's like got that, but actual nuts in it and some caramel and stuff. It's really nice. Nice. Yeah, it's very, very nice chocolate bar.
Tell you the one I got disappointed of, like anyone who'd watched the Goonies when they were a kid. So when I was in New York, I bought a Babe Ruth.
Oh, right.
Iconic name, iconic chocolate bar. Yeah. And it's fucking disgusting. It was just
really
a thin layer of sugar over what I can only sort of say is just like a block of sugar. I don't really know what it was.
Oh, it's just a sugar bar.
It's just what it says. I don't know what it is. Actually, I'm going to have to look this up now because this is one of my memory plan tricks. I mean, I just remember I was like, I don't know, I would have been about 18 or 19 at the time.
I was a mere boy.
Yeah, but just one bite into it, it's like, God, that's mercilessly sweet. And then just like one more nibble, and like, no, that's going in the bin. Just couldn't even. And it's not like Mars bars and stuff aren't like overly sweet themselves. Babe Ruth chocolate bar. Interesting thing behind the Babe Ruth chocolate bar. I'm sure the guy who made it originally actually tried not to credit Babe Ruth.
Yes, that's true.
Sort of sued to make sure that he got his cut.
No, it's a different Babe Ruth. He's a postman.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's a thing. It's like, oh no, it's Baby Ruth. It's my daughter. No, so peanuts, caramel, and milk chocolate flavored nougat. So that sounds like it should be nice, but I don't know. It tasted really sweet to me.
Okay. Maybe. Well, we've got different tastes, haven't we, when it comes to confectionery? In Europe and North America.
There's a different method of making chocolate, which means that the American chocolate has some chemical that's in vomit. Yeah, it's around the way the milk is processed, but it's what you're used to, basically. Fair enough. No, not casting aspersions, but no, I was well, that sounds quite nice actually, nougat and peanuts and stuff. But
hey, Neil, maybe you were just being a bit of a teenager about it.
Yeah, maybe.
Be cool.
Hey, do you know what?
With your undercut.
Yeah. No, I did have a step at the time and a shell suit.
Very good.
That was in the 90s.
Very good.
Or possibly I had my green jeans and my hypercolour.
Hypercolour t-shirt to show where you were sweating, which was everywhere.
Everywhere.
Because it's made of a polyester blend.
Yeah.
Okay, so
still missing.
I've got one here, Neil. Hi guys, hello. I'm out here listening.
Yeah.
I'm out here listening to your tapes on my Sony Walkman in the woods, real deep, where man becomes beast and high school days feel like a fever dream, and you see and hear things, primal things, So I'm in my lean-to, and I'm thinking, why are they avoiding the squatches? Are they working with them? And I ain't never been with a Bigfoot. Billy has a big mouth, and he's been drinking since the green moon was strong. So you working for the Sasquatches? And that's from Hank DuPont in Boardman, Washington State. So okay. Neil, are we working with the Sasquatches?
Just a note there, Chris. I see that you. Sorry, I mean I see that the email you've selected. You've gone for the less of the concise ones. More.
I've gone for the longer ones. Yeah.
Jesus, give us half of his fucking life story.
Well, we don't have a lot to choose from.
Right. So have we? Are we in league with? We've done a Sasquatch one before, haven't we?
Well, we did.
We didn't want to do
skunk ape.
We didn't want to do. Yeah, we've done a skunk ape. We did. What was that one that was? There was
that was it. So what I would say is, I've
done a rougarou. That's kind of like a Sasquatch.
There's nothing like it at all. I've been trying to. I'm avoiding doing Sasquatch and Bigfoot style things because there's a fucking lot of them. There's more Sasquatch stories than there is pebbles on the beach. Yeah. Said a man once who had a very poor understanding of seafront geology. But I was thinking that we might do a mini series of just squat, so like Honey Island, Swamp Monster, Stump Squat, like maybe just do like a little mini series at some point outside of the normal.
Honey Island.
Nope.
Okay, we've mentioned him, I know, on the podcast. But yeah,
that was in the Rougarou episode. Yeah, it's in Louisiana.
Okay, that's where I'm getting.
But there's the thing is, there's loads of them. So
yeah, they're all over the show. I mean, maybe we'll do Bigfoot as a big, maybe that's episode 150 or something. I don't know.
Yeah, thousands, episode 1000.
I don't know if going to make that one.
So no, we're not in the employ of the Sasquatches, but and we're aware that
we would happily be
employed,
but they're not very rich, so
yeah, they you know what. And do you know what?
Don't work for peanuts. I mean, probably would, but
I'd work for peanuts. I won't. As I said to my previous employer, I'm no longer willing to work for pine cones. So I don't want to get back into the whole pine cone economy.
That's where you allegedly draw the line.
Yeah, that's where I allegedly draw the line.
Gold of the trees, Chris. You're too good for that.
Yeah, I am too good for it.
Because you've got a freezer full of gold, as we established.
Yeah, I'm a very modern man. So yeah, no. I think that we'll probably do a series where we just kind of hit all the squatches at some point.
Well, there you go. That makes sense, because there are a lot of very very related.
Because otherwise it would be every other week. So.
Yeah, and you can't. Yeah, and they're all kind of very similar. So you kind of want to do Bigfoot first and then do the spin-offs,
or leave that to last.
Yeah, but then I feel like you've run out of material. I don't know. Anyway,
well,
we'll figure that one out.
We'll figure it out. Thank you, Hank. 2 points, Neil.
So, already run out of effort on the second one, Chris. So it's not even. I've just put bloke from Quora because I couldn't be bothered to look at the name. I just went to Quora and looked up urban legend questions. The other ones are actually. So, what urban legend was around when you were growing up? This is a genuine question, but I just nicked this off of Quora because I only had 9.
Okay.
Or however you pronounce that website that people ask questions.
Oh, that's difficult. Do you have any, Neil, off the top of your head?
See, the urban legends would have been around kind of like something involving one of the teachers, like it would probably be something more purient, but like having relations with one of the sixth formers or something along those lines.
I think every school had that. Always the PE teacher.
Well, the PE teacher probably, yeah.
I'm trying to think. So I remember
it's not really a big place for it where we live, is it?
So I don't know if it was true. So when I was in London, I don't know whether it was true or not, but there was a kid who was a bit weird, and I was told that he had eaten a live newt to impress people, but I don't know whether that was kids making that up. Or
yeah, because again, there tends to be a lot of stories about this. Because I mean, we knew some kid who was kind of like. Well, I think he probably did get into substance abuse, sadly, but he was rumoured to be sniffing glue and getting lost in his own street and stuff like this.
I mean, that's not really an urban legend.
No, exactly, but it's more sort of gossip around. No, the only thing I can think of that's kind of like from around where around Brighton when I was a kid was Devil's Dyke. There's kind of like because I think it's something like a legend that the devil had carved the Devil's Dyke out of the hillside.
Right,
furious at some crazy. I can't even remember what the fucking legend is.
I mean, there are places around. I mean, but this isn't like there are, because where we live, in merry old England, and also in the southeast, it was kind of one of the last places to sort of fully Christianise. There's lots of kind of old places, like there's Chanctonbury Ring, which is a ring of trees, which is just kind of north of Worthing. And like, if you go around that 3 times or something, then either the devil appears or you get pregnant or something. I don't know.
There's lots of really funny. It's a bit like when you sort of read some of the more obscure Greek myths. It's kind of, they don't really amount to all that much. Which is really, like I said, the Devil's Dyke one. It's not, you read it, you'd forget it again instantly because it's not that. Somebody was praying and the devil got annoyed, so he tore up a hillside or something.
But it was kind of, I guess it was more kind of, it's like school stuff. Like there was room at because we used to have rumbles against another school, Hove Park, Blatchington Mill. They used to have rumbles, which was.
I went to the Catholic school, so everyone wanted to beat me up.
No, yeah, that's true.
They assumed you were posh hilariously for no reason.
Well, a lot of people were quite poshy, weren't there? I've still got a prejudice.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I've mentioned it before. Like, you know, loads of kids would meet on the school field, and then sort of there'd be a bit of pushing and shoving, and everyone would go home.
Yeah.
There was like there'd always be kind of rumours around that. Like one of them had broken into our school and killed one of the. Because like in the centre of the school there was like a pond,
Yeah.
like in the middle of the buildings, like a sort of internal wall garden thing, and one of them had like killed one of our ducks or something, and so therefore we were going to have a rumble
For the honour of the school.
for the honour of the duck and the school. Yeah,
yeah. They're killing our fucking ducks.
But yeah, I can't think of any kind of big, like we didn't have like crops or
No,
anything
not like really nice juicy urban legends.
Well, like monsters. There wasn't really any.
No,
monsters.
it's not really that. Yeah, mainly it was more sort of school stuff. The other one I remember was this whole thing around supposedly, because, I mean, did you ever get to throw a javelin when you were at school?
Yes.
Yeah, so we did it once, and it was, I would estimate, 45 minutes of safety talk, and then a story about how some pupil had allegedly, like, because they weren't paying attention, impaled their own eyeball on the end of a javelin. Which supposedly, I think everyone gets told that story. I don't believe it's necessarily.
It's really difficult to throw a javelin.
Yeah, they are. Well, it's almost like you'd want to practice it quite a bit rather than getting to do it once, because it's quite unquote allegedly very dangerous. So yeah, I think I got to maybe 2 times got to throw a javelin when I was the whole time in school. But just, I was terrified that PE teachers would impale ourselves on the fucking things for some reason.
I had this quite young RE teacher who was probably like, there might have been his first job out of like teacher training or whatever.
Okay.
Like sort of dressed a bit like John Lennon and obviously
just like you kids.
Yeah, and sort of smoked weed at home and stuff. Yeah, it's kind of that kind of guy.
Yeah.
But it was a bit odd. And I remember him. This will be an urban legend as well, but it's a weird thing for a teacher to tell a bunch of sort of 14, 15-year-olds, and like prior to us doing our exams, our GCSE exams, and he was going, look, if you just look at the paper and you don't know any of it, it doesn't matter. Like, you know, like don't panic. Like you can always sit them again, or, you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Because, you know, like there was a kid once who kind of looked at the paper, didn't know anything, put 2 pencils up his nostrils and then banged them on the desk and killed himself. Like, so, you know, like you can't take it that serious. Like, it's a pretty weird thing for you to be saying to us. Like,
I mean, almost
teacher guy, apparently.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is, I remember. I mean, primary school especially, my teachers.
I mean, that's quite a horrific thing for a teacher to be saying.
It is, and I don't know. I guess maybe it was something he'd been told, and he was worried that people might be overly stressed, or maybe you save that for when people are, you know. Yeah, I mean, but I don't just think anatomically that would be massively possible.
Yeah, well, you get,
I mean, yeah, you could do some damage.
Do a shot. Yeah.
Imagine the pencil had snapped, but I don't know. Possibly, I don't know.
Don't try it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely would try it. Yeah,
no one try it.
You know, it's not worth trying to disprove me. Anyone? Got him. I'm right into
worth it.
Idiot. Yeah. Or you can prove an idiot but in much less painful ways. But no, the one I remember, because so primary school we had really weird teachers growing up, and but no, just because you said RE teacher, it reminded me of like most of our ones were all right. Again, sort of Catholic school and all that, took it a bit too seriously, some of them. But just this one guy was hilarious, and he wasn't inappropriate or anything. But what was really funny, so he was in his like mid-30s. And he'd given up what he'd sort of described as a good, well-paying job in the city because he'd suddenly like become a born-again Catholic, and decided that he didn't want
Tony Blair,
or he wanted to, very much, and he didn't want to what he was, whether or not he had any kind of like guilty conscience, I don't know, but no, he was effectively stating that you're lucky to have me as a teacher because I'm so intelligent and you want to be, and got more and more bitter as the year went on, and none of us gave a shit. It's like, I've given up a good job here to teach you all about religion.
It's up to you, mate.
Care about religion. It's your life choice. Don't to us. And he got more and more bitter as the year went on because he just expected us, I suppose, to be all like, "Oh wow,
really? You worked in the city.
Oh, we're lucky, sir, to have you as a religious instructor. Get over yourself."
Like how soon do you think he's back in the city, pushing cocaine and banging prostitutes 10 times as bad as he had before we found?
But these are the thing, and it's kind of like And the thing is, as well, like a bunch of 12, 13-year-old kids are the last people you want sincerity out of, because the first thing we're going to do is just go like, right,
the night pack of dogs, a sense of weakness.
yeah, exactly. You're absolutely going to.
You've instantly shown the attack point there.
No, exactly. Yeah. There's the weak spot.
Yeah, perfect.
Full class on
Exactly.
formation, attack formation, straight in. Another thing is, like, some of those things, I remember teachers being genuinely friendly, and then they have, some sarcastic comment, and becoming an adult and thinking, oh, that was nasty. Why did I do that? But yeah, like people like this, get over yourself. Anyway, yeah. School days with Neil and Chris.
School days. Hello. You two sound like some live young men. No mistake. And having seen your pictures on social media, I must say you're rather a feast for the eyes, if you catch my drift.
Okay, this is a madman or woman.
Quite simply, how do you do it? Do you have a care routine? And that's from Rachel in Edinburgh. Yes, I do. I have a care routine. I like to have.
I see what you've done here, Chris.
I like to have baths, and I put stuff under my eyes because they're getting rings, and I moisturise, and just a little drop of essential oil around my erogenous zones. How about you, Neil? What's your care routine?
Well, I first thing is the hair washes itself after 2 months, Chris. So that'd be my first tip. The beard, likewise, you let that grow out. Unfortunately, I have shaved shaved it. Nope.
Yep, you're joining. You're joining another. Your mum taking you down to Butlins for another beautiful baby contest.
Yeah, yeah. Get oiled up and pretend I'm, well, they'll take who they can get these days, Chris.
Yeah, anyone.
You're really going to throw out a paying customer? I suppose not. Say begrudgingly.
So, what else, Neil? So, hair cleans itself.
Change your underwear at least once a week.
Yeah. Okay. Well, fair enough. Some good tips there for
dress appropriate to your age. That's what I'd say. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's me out.
That's my beauty hints.
Okay. Neil, next question.
Okay, so I've quite enjoyed the podcast so far, but why are you more open-minded about unknown phenomena? That's Milos from Poland.
Well, Milos, I think the thing is, I am open-minded about it, but a lot of it's really easy to see through. Unfortunately,
people might be financially motivated to.
Yeah, the problem is when you look at stuff, then you learn stuff about it, and then you end up joining the dots. No, but I'm I try and come to stuff open-minded. I mean, like, I'm not a big believer in ghosts and stuff, but stuff that could be scientific, but we don't have the knowledge for it. Or, I mean, like, I'm more open-minded about UFOs and stuff than you are, Neil. What with me being 5% open-minded about it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that, I could sort of, pretend that I just want to see like firm evidence base and, stuff like that, but just closed-minded and not really interested in it. So,
yeah, simply closed-minded.
Yeah.
So I've got one fairly similar to that here, so I'll do that one now.
Oh, that's good.
To the idiots.
Nice.
You might think it's funny to joke about things that you might not believe in, like
David Icke,
like camera heads or the underwater city of Flontar. But there are plenty of far more cleverer people out there who know what's what, and know a lot of stuff you've talked about is as real as sand, butter, or Robert Mugabe. How about some of that famous BBC...
Sand doesn't exist, and Robert Mugabe was made out of butter, so you've made an idiot of yourself now.
How about some of that famous BBC impartiality? What am I paying my licence fee for? And that's from Lorraine K in Melbourne, Australia. So, Lorraine, first of all...
Confused, Lorraine.
I think you're slightly confused. Like, this isn't a BBC podcast, and you're in
What's
Australia.
happened is the high-quality production values.
She's
seen it's from Britain and just assumed it's obviously a BBC production.
Not everyone in Britain works for the BBC or the Royal Family.
We're independent broadcasters.
We're very independent. Indie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, you're in Australia, so you wouldn't be paying the license fee. But I'm sure that there are a lot more cleverer people than me who know a lot of stuff about more stuff than I do. I'm sure there is. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to find any so far. So,
Yeah.
if you want to put some stuff through, then that'd be good.
I mean, I may have found them, but they won't talk to me, so I have to assume that they're less intelligent than me. That's how it's panned out.
Lovely. Now,
I've got the beautiful one here as well. So you two represent everything that is wrong with podcasts these days. Any idiot with time on their hands, they can think out a podcast. Why should anyone listen to you? That's from the Duke of Portland in Buckinghamshire.
so what I would say is they don't. The Duke of Portland. They don't listen to us. Very few people do. The ones that do don't interact with us. I think they might be scared, perhaps.
It's pretty intimidated by our
intellects. Yeah.
That'll be it.
And you're right. Anyone can put out a podcast these days. If there was any gatekeeping at all, I agree this wouldn't exist. Neil, what do you say to the Duke of?
I think we maintain the highest of editorial standards, and frankly, I'm offended.
Okay.
It takes a special kind of idiot with both a laptop and a microphone to be able to do a podcast. I'll have you know, you Dukeness.
Yeah.
Get back in your fucking box.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's spicy. You weren't happy with that one, were you, Neil?
No, it wasn't.
How many of? I mean,
feeling that, as the kids say.
I mean, the high proportion of them are insulting. So that I've read through. I've tried to pull out some better ones.
Kind of 50-50.
So here we go. This is quite a long one, Neil. So let it ride. Kind regards, my friends. Always your pleasure, I assure you. You seem pretty astute business minds. I hear you about crypto and the NFT collectibles, and you seem like some skeptical geese. Don't correct me. I know where you come from. Me too. My pa always taught me a wise man buys petrol and hires an arsonist. A foolish man buys the smoke. As you can see, the truth shows we are synchronized. So I ask, how can you fail? I have an opportunity for fine guides in a racehorse. Consider it top pockets. Its mother, purebred Arabian, and win many races in Saudi. Legend named Levante Buckle. Father, horse, big stud from Ireland, if you get my meaning. Called Tinker's Barnacle. Win guineas many over. To join syndicate, gentlemen, for you £23,000 to cover training, room, board, and entertainment to run fast as a dart. I hope you see the bright tomorrow and we can all have, and maybe you even get a chance to go to Cannock Chase in dreams. And then there's a list of banking details, and it's from Bill McDooley in Kingston, Ontario in Canada. So what do you reckon, Neil?
Let's have a business opportunity offline. I'm definitely
Yeah,
the cut of his jib,
racehorse.
and it's always wanted to own a racehorse.
Yeah, it is concise. He's obviously listened to the podcast. It seems like he's got good business sense because he's against the kind of NFTs and cryptos like us.
Yeah.
And yeah, racehorse. I mean, it sounds like he comes from good stock.
Racing gold.
Yeah. So yeah, should we maybe
Cheap little investment?
All our
We might
resources.
struggle to build up the 23k, but yeah,
we'll start a
figure a
GoFundMe.
way out. Yeah.
Start a GoFundMe. Okay, next.
Just say we've got cancer or something, and we're 9 years old.
Yeah.
Defraud some stuff, lads.
Doesn't matter. Leaving money on the table if you're not.
Well, so they say.
I learned that at Hustlers University because I'm a top G's. Delicious water.
I think I'm next. What's your favourite type of urban legend? Sorry, I'll read that again. What is your favourite type of urban legend? I like haunted dolls. They're so creepy. That's from Rockslayer XXX from Florida.
Rockslayer XXX, Florida, the spiritual home of the haunted doll, of course.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Wonder how many times he's seen our friend Robert.
Many a time, one would hope. He's missing out.
What's my favourite? I don't know. I don't know. It's difficult, isn't it? Because I quite like I like the weird ones, like the Pascalita,
Mm,
where they're kind of standalone. They're not like in a tradition.
yeah, they can be
Um,
good.
Which if you haven't listened to Pascalita, it's, I would say, an underappreciated.
It's quite an old one, isn't it? But it's
Yeah,
it's
it's
a good one. It's a lot
underappreciated
of
episode.
very weird details.
Yeah, so I like ones like that are really kind of individual. Quite like human animal hybrids.
I was going to say that's very much my bag. A human animal hybrid. I'm
Yeah,
all about that.
more so than cryptids.
Yeah.
Like
Pigman or a Catman or something. Yeah.
Yeah, they're quite good. I think what. Yeah, I mean, like stuff like the Mad Gasser of Mattoon and stuff like that are they're original, got their own thing. And anything involving the CIA, really.
Yeah, I mean, they're
paymasters.
their whole
whole oeuvre.
wing of the library, if you like. Yeah.
Yeah.
They got up to some fun and games in the
yes
50s, isn't there? Pretty much.
Yeah, very good. Okay. Well,
All for the common good, Chris. All for the common good.
So,
depending on your definition of good, common.
So, okay, here's one from India. Hey guys, well done for pushing on despite what people are saying. It would be inspirational if it wasn't so upsetting. I had a quick question for you that's been bothering me for a while.
Aggressive.
I know, it's weird, isn't it? It might have been lost in translation.
Yeah, maybe.
So I've got a question for you that's been bothering for a while. In fact, it's kept me up at night quite regularly. In fact, it really started to affect my relationships. In fact, I lost my job due to the sleep issues and my irritable behaviour. In fact, I had to move back in with my parents, but we're arguing and they might be kicking me out. I'm hoping this answer will solve all my problems. What's your favourite colour of drink? Mine is brown, and that's from Ravi Shah in Patna, India. What's your favourite colour drink, Neil? I would say, I mean, it's probably brown for me as well. I would say brown is probably my favourite colour drink, like the Pepsis or the teas and coffees. Although I have black coffee, but I think it's a dark brown, isn't it?
Well, this is a weird one because it's kind of like, well, I never really thought about this before, and also a bit worried about what's riding on this. But
yeah, it seems like
it's like, what colour is your favourite drink, or what's your favourite colour for a drink? Because I think something like, I don't know, like a colour of like decent white wine or something like that. Or like quite like colourful things. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if it was like favourite drinks, it would be something brown, wouldn't it? Because like
I would think so.
Or a beer, you know, maybe a whiskey, or something like that. I mean, I like all sorts of coloured drinks, to be honest with you.
Yeah, a vodka that's had a cigarette butt lying in it for a while.
Yeah,
that's nice and brown, isn't it? But I would, if I could
that out and crack on.
Well, clear is nice as well, isn't it? So you've got your lemonade, you've got your white spirits, you've got white spirit, got water. That's important. Got to have your water. But I would say probably if I could only have one colour drink the rest of my life, it'd probably be brown.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Lovely. Well, there you go, Ravi, and I hope things start to turn around for you very soon.
Yeah, I think beer would be the last thing I'd want to give up. Yeah,
beer.
It's fine. It's the standard. I like a bit of wine. Anyway. Yeah, it's all right. Okay, so let's have a look. No, I'm not going to go for another offensive one.
That's fine.
Love the podcast, guys. I'd like to hear more stories about local landmarks like Port Slade. It has great local colour. In no way do I feel it's massively self-indulgent when it cannot possibly be of interest to 99% of your audience. That's from Chet King in Iowa. So it's not really a question, but he's just pointing out that, you know, we do quite often talk around, you know, the local landscape, things like
Port Slade mainly.
Port Slade mainly. I mean, in Brighton, I mean, that's like that's the real heart of it, isn't it?
That is the heart of Brighton, yeah.
The beating heart of Brighton and Hove.
Pumping organ of the Brighton and Hove Unitary Authority.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. I mean, I can understand that. If you're in a different country, you want to kind of hear what people are up to in different areas, learn a bit. You know, you might not ever get a chance to go there. I mean, mean, Port Slade's like up there with sort of Manhattan, isn't it? Price wise, to
Oh
go
yeah,
there.
it's very expensive.
Very, very expensive.
£10 a pint these days.
£10 a pint. Yeah. 1-bedroom studio is £15,000 a month.
Yeah, talking about half to $250,000 if you want to buy them. Yeah.
You know, and don't even get me started on Southwick. That's where the millionaires live. That's
what they're all saying now in in West London. It's like, all the DFPs, all the down from Port Slades.
Well, and
can't afford a flat in Kensington anymore.
They call it
DFPs knocking the prices up.
They call it Fishersgate grad now, don't they? Because of all the Russian money that's flooding into Fishersgate around the station.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. Well, thanks for that. That we will definitely try to talk more about the minutiae of small local areas,
small villages around Brighton. Yeah,
because it's clearly
we've not banged on about Amory at all. So
no, it's clearly what everyone's asking for.
The feedback says,
Okay, so here we go. Hi, me and my friends sometimes listen to your podcast when we need cheering up about the standard of our own podcast. It's called If I Had a Warhammer, and it discussions Christian themes and the lore of the tabletop game Warhammer 40,000. It does better than yours. I've looked on Chartable. So the question is, have you ever thought about maybe quitting podcasting and doing Panto? Neil strikes me as a good principal boy, and Chris has a lot of the dame about him. Goodbye. And that's from Leah Ong in Singapore. So Neil, quitting podcasting, doing Panto?
It will have to be mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
If we did start doing Panto, then I'd probably do a podcast around Panto as well.
Panto cast.
Some hilarious pun name. I don't know what it would be.
Panto cast? No.
Yeah, no.
I mean, that's fine, isn't it?
That's fine.
Oh, we'll do what we always do, and we'll go, all right, well, we'll use that as a working title, and we'll think about it. And then just
10 years later,
use it.
Can be fucked to think of anything better.
Do you think that you'd make the good principal boy in a Panto? I'm
not sure what principal boy is. Is that like Buttons or something?
Yeah.
You're like the main guy who comes out and does asides to the audience.
Not the hero. Yeah, it's like
you're like the little figure who's kind of like, so you got the hero and the leading lady, and there'll be some like wicked on or whatever, and then but he's like the one who comes out and adds a bit of colour.
Yes,
makes a few snide remarks. Yeah, I think it'd be all right at that.
Yeah, do you think I'd make a good pantomime dame?
Yeah, give it a go. I think you need a scary wig.
I've got the legs.
With over applied lipstick. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to cut back on the lipstick. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, lovely, Neil. Thank you, Leon. And that podcast is If I Had a Warhammer. So if you're into the discussion of Christian themes within the lore of tabletop gaming Warhammer, then that could be the podcast for you. Niche, but I'm sure that it's got a few million listeners.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're too, I mean,
they're too, but
Christianity is very much like a role-playing game, isn't it?
Could say that, Neil.
Yeah. Will you be pro-life and pro-gun for some insane reason?
Roll the dice.
Yeah. Why not? So here we go. I've got another one, another sweary British one. So I listened to your podcasts. I'm interested in urban levels.
Urban lemons.
I listened to your podcast as I'm interested in urban legends, but it's trivial. Why do you swear so much? Is it because you have nothing intelligent to say? That's Tony Finch from Milton Keynes.
Well, Tony.
Yes. I mean, he's got a point. I do feel like I listen back sometimes. I've been doing some editing recently. You quite often do most of the edits.
Finally.
And I think, I think I need to cut down on some of the swearing.
Really?
Bit of a crutch for me, I think. Yeah.
I think
I'm not bothered about swearing in general, but, I think maybe it's a bit of an overuse.
I think I'm going to up my swearing.
Game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Introduce some new flavours, go for the really offensive ones.
No, I think the thing is swearing used correctly punctuates things nicely and can, it's something we all swear, though most of us swear. So
not Tony.
And this is Tony.
Big Tone.
Tony can go fuck himself.
Fuck off.
No, and it isn't, we do tick the box that says it's adult content. Yeah. So frankly, Tony,
But in many ways, that's the only thing that's making it adult content.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. The rest of it is very childish. No, I don't think there's an overuse of swearing, particularly. But you know, if you've got a problem with it, you know, don't fucking listen. You can't. So
I think I'd swear a lot more if I lived in Milton Keynes as well, but
yeah. That's right. Is that the second time Milton? No, Milton Keynes came up in a previous episode. So here we go. Here's another one. Hey, you guys British? I love the accents, can't understand a word of it. I use it as a white noise to get to sleep when I get back from Donny's. I like all the crazy voices the dumb guy does. How does the doctor guy feel about it? And that's from Drew Fluids in Los Angeles. So I assume that I'm the dumb guy and you're the doctor guy.
I mean, I don't know which way round he's getting those because I assume we were both the dumb guy, but...
So how do you feel about all the voices I do now? Do you want me to carry on, pull back, add more? Do you enjoy them?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's all right, isn't it?
You know, it's a bit of something. Some of them go off a bit to territory we probably shouldn't tread into, but you know.
It'd be a bit bland if it was just our standard voices all the way through, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've got the world's most interesting voice, so yeah, probably I'll add a bit of colour.
Does something, doesn't it? I know that my mum really enjoys the voices, so for that alone, I'm gonna continue them in when she occasionally listens, and doubles our listenership. Neil, have you got a question for us?
Yes. So, are you worried about the rapid ascent in AI taking over from content creators like you? And that's from Bankai Moon from Seoul in Korea.
Thank you for the question. I'm personally not.
I don't know if it's the same Bankai Moon, the famous, I think he was a diplomat or something. George W.
Ban Ki-moon.
Yeah.
He was the head of the UN. No, yeah, he was. Yeah, wasn't he?
Something like that.
UN.
Or yeah.
No, I'm not worried for us personally, because
you couldn't or would not want to replicate.
No, I don't think that there's a
unique style.
I think they have bigger fish to fry than the work it would take to replicate this.
And reasonable facsimile is what we might come out with.
Yeah, and also you kind of, I mean, AI is, so people are very scared of it. What it's doing and what it's very good at is predicting. So it's got all this stuff, and then it predicts what the next word should be. It's not having an original thought itself.
It's machine learning, yeah.
Yeah, it's machine learning. So it's very good at predicting. So it's fine for doing dry stuff, but for creative stuff, not so much. So I think the worry about it's probably too much at the moment. But I think in fairness, where a lot of people are getting a bit annoyed is that it's being trained on people's copyright material and then doing something very similar with and as usual, creative types are getting screwed over, as you say, with a sort of writer's strike at the moment. There's a constant battle to try and cut them out of any kind of money. And where is your actual creative stuff going to come from if you keep trying to cut them out of the, any kind of payment mechanism? Short-sighted at best. It's very short-sighted, and I think that maybe not in something.
They are doing all sorts of things like paintings and God knows what else. So it's not just language, is it? It's,
But again, the thing which it's predictive, and the thing which or just sort of mashups. And so the thing which it lacks is the spark of creativity. Like an AI isn't going to go and do like a painting of Mr. T as a cyberpunk, right, off its own back. You'd have to ask it to do it.
So to do that, yeah.
And then it would go and look at images which have been created by people. Yeah. So I don't know. I think if they cut creators out of it full stop, well, first of all, I think the internet will just become bland, because that's the only place that it can really, but that's the only place that it can really exist online, like all of this stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that you'll just have people. Maybe you'll have to get accredited as not being AI, doing whatever you're doing, and then I think people would err towards that rather than AI generated stuff. I think that's probably where it will go, and then the whole point of it kind of goes at that stage.
I'd like to believe that was true, but I think we're about 3 years away from our first AI fully created sitcom or something, and people who've got no taste will lap it up. But there you go.
There's someone who's been using AI to do, and it's been running for about 52 weeks constantly.
This is the Seinfeld.
The Seinfeld one, yeah. Still hasn't quite got it.
Yeah, I've not seen them yet, but I mean, obviously that's quite,
they're not very good.
Something decent there, which is, but
yeah.
But if you were trying to, like, I don't know, trying to do a version
procedural,
yeah, you know, like the really, like, the really basic ones. I don't know.
Yeah, well, catchphrase comedy or whatever. But
yeah. I
think anything sort of magic, like you couldn't get AI to go and write a Vic and Bob thing or what's the American sort of Vic and Bob ones? Tim and Eric.
Tim and Eric, yeah. Or Mr. Show or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they couldn't do stuff like that because where it's funny there is the lack of predictability.
Yes, and the clever editing and sort of like things running into each other and stuff like that. With Tim and Eric especially, it's very kind of like I can't remember what they call it, but it's sort of like anti-humor, isn't it? A lot of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
So, okay, I've got one here. It's for you, Neil.
Nice.
Yo, this is for Big Neil. Yo, I'm not happy with how things went down between us and all over a stupid speedboat, man. Things were said and I'm sorry for that. I won't blade the weed, though. It didn't help. But I'm trying to grow as a man and take responsibility for my actions. I got into hot yoga. Man, it's clearing out a lot of complex emotions for me. Look, I'm in Europe laying low for a bit. Why don't you come and see me and we can move on from frenemies to rivals or perhaps even friends? I'm on the same number. Hit me up. I got snow machines. And that's from DJ Khaled, who's in Danderyd in Sweden. So, Neil, your old frenemy, DJ Khaled, what do you reckon? He's reaching out to you.
No, once bitten, twice shy, Chris, as we know. But
really, you're not gonna. I mean, it sounds like he's trying to. It sounds like he's trying to make some changes.
I'm gonna have to do some soul searching and think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying no, but you know,
maybe I don't know. Maybe send him a GIF.
Yeah.
To break the ice. They're like, well, he's not far away. Like, it's just north of Stockholm, laying low. So,
if I'm around that way anytime soon, I'll.
Looks like he's got skidoos.
Maybe give him a text.
Could be a bit of fun, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, Neil, you're up next. We're into the final leg. Last 25% of the questions.
Two more I've got. So yeah, another friend of the podcast. I don't know, friend of the podcast. Not been in touch before. I don't know, but. I'm inspired by the fact that you have a podcast, as surely anyone can. Winky smiley face.
Oh, nice.
What equipment do you use to record the podcast? That's from Tim the Yowie Man, Canberra, Australia.
Oh, Tim.
Good to hear from you.
So you're going to do Lakes to Avoid podcast?
Yep. A little podcast about, being pissed off at
bodies of water that I despise.
Yeah. If you'd like to know the backstory on that, then please do listen to this. There's a real person, Tim the Yowie Man. That's his actual name, and listen to our Yowie podcast.
So I use a PC. I won't go through the specifications.
What's that stand for, Chris? Is that a personal computer?
No, it's a guy called Peter Critchin who I get to hold a recording thing under my mouth. No, only joking. It is personal computer, and I've got some speakers, and I put headphones into there, so I'm listening through headphones. We do it over Zoom, and then take the recording files and put them in Studio 1.6 and to do the editing. And my microphone is a Yeti Blue.
That was an incredibly sincere answer, Chris.
That's all right.
Fair enough. Yep, that is in fact how we do all of this. I'm on a PreSonus something or another. Revelator, I think it's called.
Revelator.
I do have another mic, but I can't be bothered getting out the audio interface every time I want to plug into it. I sometimes put it away because it's.
Well, you do it on a laptop, don't you? Not on a PC.
Yeah, so I have. Well, it's a laptop, and I just plug a USB microphone into that. The
way to go.
Zoom, and have just any of your standard free doors to mix it all down.
Yeah. And then we release it via Acast, which we pay a subscription for.
That's value for money.
Value for money, and that's about it, really.
Yeah,
and then
anyone who wants to
I've done all the let us know. We'll give it a listen.
Yeah, for sure.
Probably. So, hello. Just found this podcast. A friend pointed me to it, and I recognised one of the voices, Neil, or as he used to be known, Colin. We lived in Port Slade together and were in the same b-boy gang. We used to battle dance against other b-boy gangs from the area. Neil, or Colin, was known as the Digital Diva, and I was one of the better spinners. After the battles, the losing crew had to run down Boundary Road naked and jump into the water at the docks, where Russian sailors, drunk on ship vodka, would chuck horseshoes and coal at them. Great times. Anyway, Colin, do you remember me? My street name was Rear Admiral Lava Lamp. Now I'm just plain Paul Baxter, Barrow in Furnace. So do you remember Rear Admiral Lava Lamp, or were you, is he correct that this was you? You changed your name from Colin and you used to be a b-boy?
Well, unfortunately, I have absolutely no recollection of my childhood due to an unfortunate accident with a horse. So
kicked in the head.
Yeah,
got
kicked in the head, and then sort of like 10 years of memory just lost.
Oh, okay.
Really weirdly specific amnesia for that period of my life, so it could all be true. I don't know. Pretty sure I'm not Colin though. Yeah.
Are you?
Although weirdly, I do. When I lived in
really, you have Colin sewn into all of your clothes, like Memento.
I've never figured out why. My parents always call me Colin. I'm like, Neil, why do you call me Colin? I don't know what it's all about. But no, when I lived in Kettering before I moved to Brighton, when I was a wee man, I was into breakdancing.
Were you?
I was, yeah. No, generally, I was genuinely. It was because we're like a small cul-de-sac that we lived down, and they used to do like well, it was the early '80s, so everyone was into sort of like it got really big, do like spinning on my head and all that stuff. Popping and locking. It was considered quite good for a 5-year-old.
So I mean, it sounds like maybe this is
all possible.
So I'll forward on Paul's email address, and maybe you can start filling in some of those gaps in your memory.
Yeah, might explain a few things.
Yeah, it's like like that big b-boy tattoo that you've got on your back.
I was wondering where that came from.
Don't remember getting this. Okay, cool. Next question, Neil.
Oh yeah, so it's my final one here then. If you weren't doing a podcast about urban legends, what would you do a podcast about? Also, do you regret the name of the podcast in retrospect? And that's from Gudmundur Gunnarsson from Selfoss in Iceland. I believe that's the third largest city or third largest town or village or whatever in Iceland, Chris. So there's about 50 people in it.
Oh,
real big drop off after Reykjavik.
Do I regret the name? No, not really. To start with, I did, because if you typed in our name, then you would just get lots of other urban legends.
It just sort of autocorrect to urban legends. Yeah, I like the name, but yeah.
However, now because we've done so many of them, it actually just comes up. So we've actually managed to get into the algorithms. So just persistence has meant that just bloody-minded persistence has meant
take a bad idea and just persist with it.
That you can actually kind of find it and stuff quite easy now. Yeah. No, I think it's all right. I mean, it was a bit of a okay. Well, that's a pun name. Like we might do something else, but then just stuck with it. But it's fine, isn't it? And what else would I do a podcast about? Well, before we did this, we tried one episode of a podcast called
BritBox or something,
which was basically, so BritBox is in the UK like a streaming service like Netflix or whatever, but it shows like classic British TV.
Classic's doing a lot of heavy lifting there.
Yeah, a lot of heavy lifting.
I mean, there's some good stuff on it, but yeah.
So we were going to do a podcast called Shitbox, and where we would watch a classic British TV thing, but like quite a, like a sort of ironically funny one, and then try and sort of comment through it, sort of a la Mystery Theatre 2000, whatever it's called, or 3000, I guess.
And it's T3K, yeah. Mystery Theatre 3000.
But essentially, they're so bad that they're unparodiable.
Well, I think we piloted it with an episode of Hello, Hello, and we thought we might go through the whole series of Hello, Hello, and I think we both died inside about 10 minutes into the experiment.
Yeah.
I think we did get all the way through the episode, but yeah, it wasn't.
So we didn't do that. And there's another one which we may or may not do. It's kind of very early stages, called Character Assassination, which is basically each week we'll take a fictional character from film or TV or books, and then sort of talk about that character and try and get some laughs out of it and that kind of stuff. So I don't know, like maybe something like that. I don't really know a lot about most stuff, so it's difficult, really. I can't do anything with any expertise involved, unless you did something really boring about like what we do as jobs, which would probably actually be more popular. But also, this is to escape that world as much as anything.
Yeah, I could see myself doing those for like a professional reason for like half an hour a piece, and then just doing like a series of them, like you know, not like as a regular thing. I wouldn't want to commit to it every week. But yeah, you know,
What, like one about your work?
Yeah, I won't get into what we do, but
No.
A, because it's boring, and B, because whatever. But yeah, it's but yeah, no, I can't imagine doing that every week. I could sort of see it, you know, as a here's my experience of doing this. I'll split it into 20 segments and release it as a podcast series kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. What about a fun one, Neil? If you got any ideas of something you'd like to, maybe an Arsenal one?
I think there's a lot of football ones already, and to be honest with you, with football,
It's quite boring, isn't it?
Well, there's plenty of good ones out there already, and I just like it's quite a divisive subject. You know what I mean? So I don't want to get into all of the hilarious bants between football fans, frankly, because a lot of it isn't. You know, no, but there is. I mean, there are plenty of good podcasts, both humorous and sort of semi-serious or whatever you want to put it. And I think there's lots of, but you know, that's well-worn territory. So I wouldn't want to kind of, you know, I don't have anything to add. I don't feel in that field.
Well, one thing which we're sort of thinking of doing, which we'll try and do as kind of a spin-off series, kind of a short one like the Christmas stuff that we did, is so a lot of there are kind of like, you look at major cities and they've got like different urban legend stuff, but they're quite small. There isn't much to them.
Yeah.
And so we were thinking of maybe doing ones sort of across some major cities and just doing one or two of the smaller urban legends within that city, kind of across the globe. So we might do that as a spin-off in the next couple of months.
Yeah, the only other one I think to do is something like it. If you did like almost like your own sort of like radio play, if you like, not play, but just like something humorous over like 10 episodes or something like that. I wouldn't mind having a crack at that at some point, if I could be bothered to sit down and like something scripted. I think that what I'd do that was different from this, I think it would be interesting to try something heavily scripted and see how that works. Because could you script it and act it as well? Don't know if you've got the chops.
The acting chops.
Indeed.
Feel goods. Okay,
you have what it takes to tread boards, the theatrical zeal in the veins.
The roar of the grease paint and the smell of the crowds.
Indeed. Right, your final one, I think, Chris.
Final one. So this is the last one, everyone.
Cool.
Hey guys, when I first heard your podcast, I was sure it was created by AI due to its blandness and your lack of charisma or humanity. But after a while, I realised it must be real because a computer wouldn't have been able to structure sentences so poorly. So, seeing as I'm currently of the opinion that you are probably real, I've got a question for you. If you had to make a soccer team up of Marvel superheroes, who would you play in what positions and why? Been bugging the hell out of me, and that's from Sylvia Majika from Tappahannock in Virginia. So, Neil, Marvel superheroes in your football team, what formation are you playing? I'm going 4-2-3-1.
I'm going to go 3-5-2.
Okay. So in goal, I'm going to have Mr. Fantastic of the Fantastic Four because he can just stretch himself across the whole goal.
Okay, I don't know if I'm going to be able to name 11 Marvel characters. I'm going to have Magneto in goal because he can just move the posts around.
Very nice. So centre backs, I want a strong one and a cultured one, right?
Yeah. So
I'd probably have the Hulk. That's one of them. And who's cultured? Maybe Beast from the X-Men because Kelsey Grammer did his voice.
Fair enough.
So I'd have those two at the back.
Oh,
Couple of big lads.
I'm going to run out just when we get to defenders. I've got three. I'm going to have Doctor Strange. He's a Marvel fellow, isn't he? Because he's going to confuse the attackers.
Nice.
By making you go into portals back to your own, scoring your own goal and that whatnot.
Yeah.
Crimson Witch, is that what she's called?
Yeah.
Because she can fire red fire balls at attackers or whatever, or make them have horrible dreams and that.
What a weak backline so far.
No, they're good to confuse the, and then I don't know. Then I want a big lads in the centre. Or do I see that you've already nabbed Mr. Fantastic? So
yeah, but you can still have the same people.
Okay, I might go with Mr. Fantastic because then he can sort of cover all that,
Yeah, good sweep.
And then they can sort of maybe then do some overlapping runs with the midfield.
Okay, I'm going to go fullbacks now.
I think they'd be pretty pacey as well.
Who?
Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch
flying and that, isn't it?
Exactly.
So fullbacks for me, wingbacks.
This is the problem. It's everyone having superpowers is going to make the game a bit cheaty, I would imagine. But anyway.
So fullbacks for me, wingbacks for you. So my fullbacks have Juggernaut on the right because he can't be stopped once he starts running. So that's good, isn't it? That's handy. And on the left, I'd have Quicksilver because he's really fast. So I want two fast fullbacks, one trundling and one just fast.
So
quickly.
Captain America on the right.
Great. Why? Got a shield. Perfect.
Well, yeah, vibranium. I think because I can't think of any other characters. I told you to struggle with this. Yeah, and his mate on the left, Bucky or whatever, the Winter Soldier.
Okay, why's that?
No, actually, and I'll tell you, I'll have the Invisible, not the Invisible Man. Who's the one? The Invisible Lady. I'm going to assume because they're Marvel superheroes, we can have either sex here. So
Susan Reed.
Susan Reed, or okay.
Yeah, from Fantastic Four.
Because then you're never going to see her coming.
Lovely. Okay, so I've got my two central midfielders. So I'll have Spider-Man because he's quite agile. So you can have him scuttling with the ball. And I'd have Colossus from the X-Men because he'd be like the defensive midfielder. But also he's quite intelligent and artistic. So I imagine he'd be quite a good deep line playmaker. Neil?
So is Colossus the one that's metal?
Yeah.
That was going to be my pick as well. That bloke from the X-Men movies, he's because I want him as defensive midfielder. Okay. And then I think alongside him, my sort of two more attacking options are going to have Iron Man. Because he can sort of take the ball and sweep it up into the air and that. And on the left, I don't know, I guess we'll have the Falcon fella. So a lot of people relying on flying in my team, apparently.
Yeah, you've got very flying heavy.
We're taking it into sort of,
flying and magic.
Dimension. Yeah. Skills.
So behind the striker, so there's my attacking midfielder, I would have... You want someone creative, don't you? Who's a creative superhero? You get into the box as well. Maybe Daredevil. Quite agile. Quite bright lad, isn't he? Because he's got
that super awareness, isn't he?
Super, yeah. You want someone aware in the pocket.
Yeah.
So
he'd be good at stringing passes together for your attacking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So and then as my inside forwards, I'd have Silver Surfer on one side because he's really quick. Again, I'm going for a lot of pace in my team.
Yeah.
And on the other side, I'd have... You want it cutting in, don't you? So... do you know what? I'm going to swap out Spider-Man. I'm going to put Spider-Man as my inside forward.
Okay.
And I'm going to drop as my sort of box-to-box midfielder. I'm going to put Dr. Doom. Because
I was going to have Dr. Doom as my number 10.
You can have. I think he's better a bit further back, but, whatever, Neil, it's your choice.
Well, me. I'm thinking he's he's European. He's going to have a culture
German,
foot.
German striker.
Yeah, I reckon he'd be good for my number 10, and then I'd have Quicksilver as my.
It's pacey, front man.
He's pacey. I think Doom and Quicksilver, they've got plenty of goals in them.
That's okay. So my one up front, I'm going to go for a big man. So I'm going to have Galactus, and that's the end.
Well, the other thing we've got with Doom is that and then if we don't win, he'll destroy your city. So
yeah, I'll just have to. Well, if we don't win, then he'll devour your world. So
yeah, exactly.
Galactus, who is basically Haaland. So yeah, there we go. So
not wrong.
So
yeah. Who are they going to buy for £3 billion this summer?
Bit one-dimensional. So yeah, there we go. Anyway, I hope that we've answered all your questions, real or imagined.
More length than you're comfortable with, but there you go.
Well, yeah, a lot more length. But there we go. That's just a little bit of fun.
A little bit of fun in between seasons, or
in between
bit of something.
So we'll be back week after next with the start of series 6. With a
season 5, wasn't it?
Season 5 with a fresh new look and sound.
Up to 10, not our strong suit.
All right. Well, we might release something next week, but probably not. But yeah, go and listen to La Pascalita if you haven't. And hope you have a nice time, and we'll be back with our new series in a couple of weeks. Take care, everyone. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Antennae. Server. USB. Wi-Fi. Chip and pin. Busy bit.